Was everything planned and organized through intelligence? Or was it perhaps through an organic trial and error process? Well, hello everyone. I'm giving another book review, and that book review deals with this book, The Evolution of Everything: How New Ideas Emerge by Matt Ridley, author of The Rational Optimist and The Red Queen, dealing with sex and human nature. Also part of the House of Lords, which, for those of you who don't know, the House of Lords is just a bunch of wealthy, well-educated people. Now, what is this book about? The evolution of everything. Matt Ridley makes the argument that everything is constructed by trial and error, or not given from something of intelligence or something above what was created. And in order to explore this premise a little bit more, I'm going to go over his introduction chapter. I'm going to go over the chapter of the evolution of education, the evolution of population, and last but not least, I'm going to go over the evolution of the internet with a little bit of my personal thoughts at the very end of the book review. Now we begin with this intro. He explores ancient Greece, which was the birth of modern-day philosophy. He labels Aristotle, Plato, Socrates as individuals who tended to think that there was something up above that granted knowledge, intelligence, and organization. And that was the current thought or the theme of most of the modern philosophers. The ancient philosophers. Well, a couple philosophers came into the picture, one named Democritus and one named Lucretius, who believed that life and everything around was created by random events. Atoms and void were the two components, void being that apparent empty space, and the atoms just being those tiny molecules which eventually evolved through modern science. And they didn't believe that there was something up above. They didn't believe that a god did it. They didn't believe that it was something above. It was just a natural process that happened often at random. And that is what Ridley uses at the very beginning. It's well explained, a lot of data, a lot of sources. And from there, he goes through, he talks about the evolution of morality, the evolution of religion, and a whole bunch of other topics. But as I said, I'm going to focus on 3 chapters in particular. The first chapter, the evolution of education. In the beginning, around 1806, Napoleon Bonaparte defeated the Prussian army, the military. And after being defeated, the Prussians, who were disappointed, wanted to get the upper hand on Napoleon or anyone else who would stand in their way. So what they did is they decided they were going to create a special education system. This system would be perfect for the military. Instead of everyone walking, talking, discussing things, thinking critically, everyone would sit in seats in confined spaces, and there would be one person who would give the information and carry out the orders from the very top. This system became the standard, and then in the 1850s, many educators went over to that area, brought the education system over to the United States, and that is the United States education system today. And this system, while it's led to greater literacy and some other positive effects, it's stultified because there's not a lot of innovation, creativity, and quite frankly, a lot of uninspired individuals. And so Matt Ridley in the book, he discusses a few different strategies, the fact that private schools and homeschooled kids, different types of education systems other than the state education system give far better results in education to the kids because there's often an incentive there. From that education chapter, I'm going to now go to the evolution of population. Now, it's just not the moving of people to different cities and expanding due to different types of transportation and economic needs. I'm going to talk about racial superiority, eugenics, a lot of these hefty, forbidden topics. Around the 1900s, earlier than that perhaps, you had a lot of people who believed in eugenics, right? Cultivating individuals who were superior, only allowing them to live, only allowing them to lead. There was a New York conservative lawyer named Madison Grant who wrote a book in 1916 called The Passing of the Great Race. He expressed his anger and his sadness at the fact that he believed that Western Europeans were the superior race and that they needed to stop the Eastern and the Southern Mediterranean Europeans from taking over. He also listed other races he thought were lesser. Anyone else pretty much, but Western Europeans, right? So if you were black, you were Asian, any of those races, nada, not superior. Hitler then took Madison Grant's ideas, right? And it's kind of funny because many of us are like, whoa, eugenics and the genocide and all of that, that was a Hitler planned thing. No. Hitler was not the one who originated that idea. In fact, he said himself, he took that idea from Madison Grant in the United States of America. And he called that book that Madison Grant wrote the Bible, his personal Bible for carrying out his agenda. And that's the Western Europe, United States dealing with races. We then have to go to controlled population on the East in China. There was a man named Song Jian in the late 1970s. He was a missile guidance technologist. Probably said that wrong, but he dealt with guided missiles. He was sent from China to a place called the Club of Rome, which is a club of elite sort of folks. There are many great ideas passed in it. The Dalai Lama, Bill Clinton, Al Gore, all of these individuals, many luminaries, are a part of this club. And the goal of this club is to better humanity in a sense. There were two books in the Club of Rome that Song Jian took back to China. The Limits to Growth and A Blueprint for Survival. Now, what were both of those books about? Both of those books detailed the problem of overpopulation, that everything was going to come crashing down, that if this population wasn't curtailed around the world, by 2080, things would be in big trouble. So Song Jian took those two books from the Club of Rome back to China, and the one-child policy was put into effect, which killed off many, many children. And yes, it did limit the population in a sense. However, if greater economic systems and controls were allowed, it would have saved many more lives. And those ideas, again, were not originally from China. They were from the Club of Rome. Those two books about overpopulation, which then, once again, proves Matt Ridley's point that there's not one person who dictates all of these things. These are shared ideas that come from many different places around the world. The last chapter, certainly not last but not least, is the evolution of the internet. Now, Ridley he talks about DARPA. He talks about how Obama said it was basically DARPA a government program, military program that started the internet. He also says that there were a bunch of other individuals that were creating the internet at the same time or working towards it. He then talks about a small group of 4 individuals in Santa Cruz who were onto something with currency, including a man he talks about named Nick Szabo, who got his PhD in law, and he has his bachelor's degree in computer science, which then leads to a man known as Satoshi Nakamoto, the mystery creator of what is called cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, a revolutionary currency and system of payment. Now, what is Bitcoin or cryptocurrency? Things have evolved now. There are all kinds. Ethereum, Litecoin, hundreds upon thousands that everybody is basically putting money on to survive. But Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies are there for a sense of freedom, to limit who's in control. It's not just going to be one central group of people. It's going to be widespread. The power will be given to the people. At least that is what Matt Ridley expresses in the book. And when it comes to payments, say payments are sent to 2 different types of people. Well, whoever gets the payment first gets it. The second payment is canceled. So you can't just put unlimited money out there into the internet. That control and that chokehold on the currency will be released. And it will be through the people. The money, the means of bargaining will once again be in the hands of other people. It's the demands of what people want. And it's evolving organically through this process rather than being dictated by something up above, such as the government. And that's just a little bit. I've talked for about 12 and a half minutes, and these are brief chapters in it, which show that many times everything comes through in an organic process and through freedom rather than organized, planned intelligence. Now, for those of you who happen to stay on board with me, I'd like to give my thoughts on this book. 1, if we're going to label it out of 10 points, I give it a 9.5. 9.5, a wide variety of sources, very smooth transitions, a novel premise, very strong argument, and a lot of great, exciting information for the casual reader. As far as that 0.5, how it can be made up, perhaps some more illustrations, or maybe even a greater argument for the other side that evolution comes from planning up above, to make his argument stronger. So now, we get to the good stuff. What do I think about this? Well, I think it's a great premise. I think there's something to it. He has a strong argument, and I would need a few years to write a book like this for sure. If I use my common sense, which oftentimes I'm in book sense world, it seems like there are many things that we can't live without some sort of organization or planning, right? If you talk about building construction, military construction, the products that we make, we as people are the intelligent life form that creates the product. So there's a sense of intelligence creating something. So I can't say that all of this evolution or the change can't come from something higher. But I do acknowledge that Ridley, talking about this organic flow through trial and error, has something to it. There are many ideas around the world that we think originated in one place, but we're actually taking a foothold in different countries around the world. Just as a brief side note, Matt Ridley talks about how we give Thomas Edison the credit for the light bulb. Thomas Edison is the man. Well, he was the man, but he wasn't the only man. Matt Ridley said there were about 20 to 23 different people working on a light bulb as well in different forms. So these ideas were already coming into play around the world. It wasn't one man. The times were ready for it. And he was able to capitalize on it. And that's with many events. Many of these things are organic and planned to a plan, but many of these things are just random happenings. And I think Matt Ridley makes a great case for it. I highly recommend this book right here, The Evolution of Everything, How New Ideas Emerge. When it comes to me, I'm kind of split between those two ideas of bottom up, top down thinking. Maybe I'll read a few more books and figure that one out. But ladies and gentlemen, or to you the viewer, that is the evolution of everything, and that is the end of my video. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. If you stayed to the end of this video, thank you for watching me talk for 16 minutes. This was a little classroom experience that I'm putting out here on social media, and we'll see what happens. We'll find out how I can make my videos a little bit more exciting and a little bit more engaging. Anyway, I hope you guys liked it. And that is my second book review in a long time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys all have a good one.